I think it's fair to say that we've all made some budgeting mistakes. So today I'm going to sit down, share a little story time with you of the biggest budgeting mistake I've made. Hey guys, I'm Marissa and welcome back to my channel. Here on my channel we talk about life and money and how you can enjoy life while still accomplishing financial goals through the use of a budget. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any new videos. Obviously, I talk a lot about budgeting, and something new that I've launched this week is called the Budget Breakdown Course. Everything you need to know about budgeting. If you are feeling overwhelmed or stressed out when it comes to your finances, or feeling really restricted in your budget, or maybe you think you should start a budget but don't even know where to start, this course is for you. The videos go through everything you need to know about budgeting and how to create a budget of your own and sustain it as you continue on this budgeting journey to be able to enjoy life while accomplishing financial goals. So I will have a link to the course in the description box down below and you can check it out there. It's at a very affordable price of only $37, but I have a special launch discount going on right now, and you can use this code here. I'll also leave it in the description box to get $10 off the sale price, so making it only $27, which is a steal of a deal. The discount code expires Sunday, October 10th, so definitely use that code while you still can to get that discount, but otherwise $37 is still a great deal. So check it out there. I've been super excited to share that with you, and I hope that you will go through that course and feel so confident in your budgeting to be able to accomplish your financial goals even faster. So here's my budgeting story, and we'll talk about a lot of these principles in that budgeting course because it's so important and something that I've learned a lot over the years. But let me take you back to when my husband Jacob and I got married. We got married right out of college. I was 20 years old when we got married. I was a couple weeks from turning 21, and Jacob was 23. So we got married right after I graduated college, and we were in so much debt. We had over $80,000 of student loan debt. And when we got married, we knew that we wanted to pay it off as soon as possible because we had all of these big dreams for our future, like having a house and having a family, and we knew that we couldn't do all of those things with that. So we were very conscious about how much debt we had, and we wanted to pay it off as soon as possible. We were very aggressive about this, definitely in the beginning, because we hated the thought of having so much debt. So we get married, and the next day after our wedding, we leave for our honeymoon, which was kindly gifted to us by family, and we got to go to Disney Aulani in Hawaii. It was like the dream honeymoon, and it was, covered for like flights and hotel and everything by family. And it was amazing. If you haven't been to Disney Aulani, I highly recommend it. We wanted to go again this year and it just didn't work out, but I am really excited to eventually be able to take like our family there. But it was like such a beautiful, nice resort, and we loved our time being there. The pools are amazing. You're right on the beach, and we just had a lot of like relaxing time on our honeymoon. But here's the thing. We didn't actually budget for our vacation. I think just in the midst of getting married right then, and we hadn't combined our finances yet. We also were in the midst of, wedding planning before leaving on this trip. And so we didn't even think about like how much we wanted to spend on our trip, but we knew that we weren't making a lot of money, and we also had a lot of student loan debt to pay off. So we didn't really feel like we could spend much on this trip. So when we first landed in Hawaii, we went to Target and we picked up some groceries. And I even remember then of thinking that we were spending so much on these groceries that we were picking up, but we really wanted to try and minimize the cost of our trip. So we picked up groceries that we then kept in our hotel room, and we lived off of a lot of bagels and little things of fruit, bananas, like while we were on our trip. So we ate out on our honeymoon a total of 2 times. And both times we went to Chili's, which was nearby the resort, and we shared a meal, which is fine, but it was our honeymoon. Also on this trip, we did not buy any sort of food or anything at the actual resort itself because it's Disney, it's Hawaii, it's expensive, and we knew that we just didn't have the money, but we didn't know how much, but we knew we just didn't have the money. And we didn't go on any sort of excursions because, you guessed it, we thought we didn't have the money. So I look back at our honeymoon, and I'm so glad that we went. We had an amazing time. We loved just like getting to relax and enjoy the resort and the hotel. But my biggest mistake here was that we didn't budget for it. I think a lot of times people think that a budget is restrictive and you can't do something because you have a budget. But instead, a budget actually gives you the permission to spend, and it gives you the freedom to be able to enjoy things because you've planned for it in your budget. Your budget is just simply a plan for your finances. And in our case, we had no money plan. We just knew that we didn't have any money, so we didn't spend any money. But looking back, I wish we would have just allocated $200, $300 to be able to do fun things while we were on this trip. The trip was entirely paid for except for the food and excursions that we would have done, and we were trying to do it on the cheap. But I now think back and wish that we just would have been able to enjoy that trip a little bit more. I wish we would have had like one fancy meal at the resort restaurant, even though it would have been so overly priced, but it's our honeymoon. Like, you're supposed to enjoy these kinds of things. And I wish that we would have gone on an excursion. I wish we would have driven around the island more without worrying about having to pay for, gas. And I wish we would have just been able to eat out at more restaurants. But we didn't do those things because we didn't budget for it. So I always look back at this time and definitely regret not allowing ourselves the permission to spend on that trip. And yes, we were in debt and we knew that we wanted to work on these financial goals. But at the end of the day, if we were to spend $300 more on our once in a lifetime honeymoon, that would have set us back maybe a month on our debt-free date. Like, do you think fully enjoying our honeymoon would have been worth just maybe one extra month of being in debt? Actually, probably not even an extra month at that point. But I just definitely have that regret, and I think about it often, which I think is also why we really wanted to go back this year, because we wanted a second chance. Like, we wanted to do over on that trip to be able to enjoy it. And now that we have our son, like, I had this, thought of like, we can go to the character breakfast, even though it's going to be so overly priced, but we're now at the place in our finances and in our life that we budget for doing fun things. We've been on now more vacations since that honeymoon, and every single time we've budgeted for it. We've set an amount for, hotel, for flight, and then for spending money while we're on the trip. Because if we've spent the money to get to our trip, if we have decided to, take this vacation, we want to be able to enjoy that. And we are able to do it because we have a budget, because we've set money aside for the purpose of spending on food, souvenirs, fun while we're on the trip. So a couple years after our honeymoon, we went back to Hawaii. We went to a different island, to Kauai, and we lived out all of our vacation dreams while being on a budget. And by being on a budget, I mean having a plan for our money. So we got to go on a few different excursions. We went UTVing. We went on a Nepali coast sailboat tour. We even did a luau, and we ate out at a bunch of other authentic Hawaiian restaurants that we wanted to eat at. And we had so much fun fully enjoying this trip. And again, yeah, it cost us an extra few $100s, but I'm so glad that we enjoyed that trip to its fullest. So that has been my biggest budgeting mistake, and something that I think of quite often, that we didn't actually budget for our honeymoon, for that really fun time in our life. And I wish we would have just allocated more money to be able to enjoy it fully. So learn from my mistake and know that budgeting isn't actually restrictive, but it actually gives you the permission to spend. And you can enjoy your life, spend some extra money on things that are important to you while still accomplishing your financial goals. And it's so important to have that balance. So I talk about this and so much more in the budget breakdown course. So again, I will have that linked in the description box down below, along with that $10 off coupon code that you can use to get that for a steal of a deal. So check it out and get signed up before that coupon code expires, or it'll always be available for purchase and you can get it at that $37 price point. So with that, thanks so much for hanging out and hearing my budgeting mistake, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.